speaker and one of my closest friends, new Dr. Norman Wynn Galesy. Wynn is from the southern and much warmer state of Alabama. He graduated from Duke University in 2010 with a degree in biology, and then decided to brave the northern winters to attend Harvard Medical School. At medical school, Wynn charmed us with his southern accent and witty humor. Wynn is best known for his obsession with the Auburn Tigers, his epic lecture hall nap times, and finally, his killer performance playing Dr. Rick Mitchell in the second-year show. One of the biggest medical school productions during our time here. If medicine ever falls through, he'd have a good shot in Hollywood. The man's got talent. Though he will be missed here, Wynn will be heading back to his alma mater, Duke, in the coming weeks to begin his residency in internal medicine. Please join me in welcoming Wynn to the podium.
Thanks, Cowbell. I have to say this is a new thing for me. I don't think I've ever required an introduction. My patient, Miss Jane Doe, is a 75-year-old lady with a history of cholecystitis, waiting in the pre-op area to have her gallbladder removed. But first, she needed an IV, and I was going to be the one to give it to her. My resident anesthesiologist cautioned, she's got bad veins, but there's one in her antecubital fossa that's plump. Tap that. I said, okay. I gathered all the necessary equipment, plus a bottle of lidocaine, because, let's face it, she was going to need it. I approached her bay, only to be greeted by her husband, children, grandchildren, and second cousins, all of whom were ever too eager to scrutinize my every move. I introduced myself as student Dr. Winsey in the hopes that if I said student fast enough, they would only hear Dr. Winsey. After I explained that I would be inserting an intravenous line into her left arm, she asked, "Have you ever done this before?" I replied, "Why, yes, on a mannequin." Everything that ensued was a bit of a blur. By some small stroke of irony, I tapped that vein. I ushered my resident over to witness the beautiful spectacle. She whispered, "Nice job." Wrong arm. It was that moment that an ugly little four-letter word spilled out of my mouth, a word the medical student is absolutely forbidden from saying in the presence of a patient. OOPS. Oops. Had you there for a second, didn't I? By now, some of you are probably asking yourselves, did I come to the right graduation ceremony? Shouldn't a Harvard medical student exude a sense of accomplishment? The truth is, if I were to speak only of my greatness by virtue of being a Harvard medical student, I would be denying so many formative experiences each and every one of us have shared during our time here. That is, regardless of the standardized tests we destroyed, villages we fed, or consecutive backflips we performed to get into HMS, during our clinical years, we have all been subjected to varying degrees of self or externally imposed humiliation. Humiliation that has nonetheless fostered our growth as budding physicians. During our outpatient months, many of us arrived at the paralyzing realization that while we spent so much time in the classroom memorizing the workup for hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism, we never actually learned how to treat the sniffles. The stories abound. Like a good Harvard medical student, I've done my research. Sure, we've been named Rhodes Scholars, Marshalls, Fulbrights. We've also diagnosed patients with cough drop addictions. You better overhaul that Hall's habit. lest I refer you to Rico La Licks Anonymous. I'm sorry, that was terrible. This little story is one of my favorites. During an abdominal surgery, a foul smell permeated the OR, prompting the attending surgeon to scream, "Shit, you must have nicked the bowel." In a panic, the resident and attending began running the bowel to find the site of perforation. That is, until one of our very own HMSers assuaged the team's fears, courageously admitting, no, actually, that was me. One can only fathom what the BI cafeteria served up for lunch that day. It doesn't matter how many degrees we garnered before coming here. We were all bottom feeders, relegated to doing the most undesirable of tasks to help the team. Disimpacting bowels, escorting patients to the MRI suite, enduring a 4-hour-long game of Twister as we held laparoscopic cameras in Cirque du Soleil-like contortions without breaking sterile field in the OR. At times the phrase, "so easy a medical student can do it," became synonymous with "so easy a caveman can do it." But my gosh, how dogged of a bunch we are. We assume those lowly tasks with conviction. While surgery was certainly not my calling, I'll be damned if by the end of those 12 weeks, I wasn't good at Twister. Navigating a sea of criticism and self-doubt, we refashioned our knowledge base and challenged our most basic assumptions, adapting to exist comfortably in a world where intelligence is measured not by the answers we give, but by the questions we ask. Through these experiences, we've learned that medicine is not a dichotomy of black and white, as a board's book may teach you, but rather a differential of gray. Seeing how far we have all come together, I would trust each and every one of you to manage my raging case of the sniffles. To be honest, inheriting a Mount Everest of Stafford loans has been worth it, if only to have been surrounded by so many remarkable people. With all due respect, I'm not referring to the illustrious faculty. I'm talking about you, the students. We have worked, we have played, we have laughed, we have cried, and much to my chagrin, we have sung and danced too. In summary, you're all wonderful people who have done really stupid things. But we are special people on account of our special moments. May we cherish them. Let them serve as a humbling reminder that while we have come so far, we still have so much to learn and improve upon. May they compel us to be patient with and forgiving of our coworkers and underlings. And most of all, may we continue to share them so that in hearing each other's follies, we may cut ourselves some slack. Congratulations, class of 2014. I will miss you.